put a slide. I was talking to people that were helping put it together, and you don't want to slide on yourself. I'm like, yeah, I got that. I can talk about myself pretty good. I'm Mrdjenovich. I'm one of the family members, the Jim Sherby Family Auto Group. I have my contact information up there. I also have it at the end, but if you guys have questions, you can reach out to me anytime. But let me just talk a little bit about myself. For starters, that's the wrong slide. I started out washing cars for the dealership when I was in high school, and then obviously I would go back to school at that point. And then when I went to college, and then I would sell cars there in the summertime. And then after I was done with college, I kept selling cars there. I did that for probably 3 years. And I had such a big client base at that point, I didn't really feel the need to try to go out. I have a marketing degree. I didn't really feel like I needed to do that. Well, like full circle, that's kind of what I'm doing now within our company. But anyway, so I went from that position to moved into a financing position that helps people get the loans, to the store manager. And I did so well at the current store I was at, which is like our smallest store. They moved me up to our biggest store. And then they had me help everybody across the board at all stores with marketing. So I'm a little bit psychotic. I might go too fast. I'll do the best I can to go slow. But when it comes to marketing, my team, they've recommended that I do not drink cold brew coffee, which you don't have cold brew coffee or iced coffee. So I'll do my best not to go 100 miles an hour, but I just get a little bit excited. Don't take my enthusiasm as me being nervous. I love this. This is the best thing ever for me. I am nervous with the dean sitting there. So I'll do my best here. So a little bit about our company. We've been in business since 1974. My wife's grandmother and grandfather started the business, and it was just a little small Oldsmobile dealership that they bought off somebody else. They had like an equity position in it, and through that point my father-in-law became owner, and then he turned the business over. My wife and myself and my brother-in-law purchased it off him. But so we've been in business in 1974. There's about, at any given point, 8 to 10 of us or more, depending on where we are in a summertime mode or something like that, but part-time jobs, full-time. But there's a lot of family members. What else we got? Oh man, this is a great one. I really feel proud of this one. In 2007, we had 50 people that worked at the company, and we've had such rapid growth. We went to 450 people in 17. I know we're beyond that at this point, but we're soon to be expanding that number, and our goal is to be able to figure a way to employ more people and have more impact in the community. So a couple locations we have around the area. We have some in Uniontown, which is about, from here, it's probably 40 minutes. And we have them in North Huntington. We have one in White Oak, which is just right there near North Huntington. And we have some in the North Hills now. So well, we have one. We're about to open a second one in the North Hills. So we've had a pretty big expansion. Has anyone ever heard of our company before? Probably market incessantly, so that's going to tell you what we do and why we do it that way. So I would imagine most of you live in the area here, right? That's probably why you hear our incessant marketing. So we're going to target this area very aggressively. So anyway, that's a little bit about us. 8 rooftops. We operate all kinds of different business models, which I'll tell you about that. So probably not the best slideshow presenter, but I can tell you about marketing. So within our company, we have a new car department, which is completely different than a used car department. They need to be managed differently. The way they operate, life cycles of the business is completely different. Parts department, service department, financing, and a body shop. Those are all the businesses within our business. So it could be a bit much. Now, what we're going to spend most of our time on today, I'm going to talk about most of our advertising and what we do for our new car business, which, again, I'd have to talk for a really long time if I was going to talk about every single one of those and how we market those. But what you're probably almost familiar with is what we do with our new car side. So I'm going to go with that. So IPO, this is just not an initial public offering. This is just something I talk about within the walls of our store. This will be very similar to the 4 Ps of marketing. If you haven't heard of it, you probably should study that part. It's very critical. Our team doesn't really talk 4 Ps, they just know 4 Ps. So I assume you guys talk about 4 Ps? So yeah, if you don't know the 4 Ps, they are vitally critical, or you're going to waste money and you won't know how to market properly to people. So for us, we talk about is inventory, and it's whatever you sell. It doesn't matter. For us, we obviously sell new cars, used cars, parts, and we sell labor hours. So part of what we sell is if your car needs repaired, we sell the servicing of that. We sell the parts that you need on the car, and we sell new used cars. So the people. We absolutely need people. That's one of the most critical things, and if I was up to me, I would have made the whole presentation about the people. All the other stuff could go out the window. If you don't have the right people, it doesn't matter what inventory you have or what kind of marketing you have. You have to have the best people, hands down. We're always going to be striving for that. So the people you staff your stores with or your business with, that's what's going to make a difference. Opportunity, that is the leads that we're going to provide to try to generate more business. And if you're not focusing on growing and getting bigger, then you're going to go backwards, because someone like our company is going to be constantly coming after your company. So you can only go as far as your weakest link. This is all we talk about within the walls of the store. So we could spend tons and tons and tons of money on advertising, but if we don't have the people to handle the leads or the opportunity we're talking about here, it's going to all go to waste. So we'll talk about the weakest link. So the way I look at this, I'm just trying to give you the most basic, general, if you can see that from here, example. So when we talk about this, if I had 1,000 vehicles we're going to try to sell, that'd be a lot of vehicles. That's probably, amongst all of our company, that's close to as many new cars as we would have. 25 salespeople at a rooftop, that would be a lot. We do have that at some of our stores. We'll have 25 salespeople. So again, we're just talking about a new car department right now. If we had 100 sales leads for them, that would not be nearly enough. They wouldn't be able to make a living, and our business wouldn't thrive off that. So if we had 100 leads in this example, that would be our weak link. We would need to attack that, which would mean we need to spend more money to help our team be able to generate sales. So we'll just use a modest 25% sold rate. The opportunities would give us about 1 sale per salesperson. They need to make about 10 to 15 sales, or that doesn't work for us or them. So we would need more leads. So let's kind of go through that. So this is where advertising comes in. Hello, advertising, right? So we could spend, I mean, it's crazy how much money we could spend. Everything's expensive. When I say it's crazy how much we could spend, I'm just talking about it just never ends. You could just keep going. I'm not saying we have the budget to spend for television. Extremely expensive, but you get your name out there. It's a critical piece of being credible within the marketplace. I'm sure you've heard of some businesses, and I could probably name some, and you've never even heard of them before. So brand awareness is kind of key. Again, you probably talk about maybe brand awareness or the equity in your brand. These would be part of your television strategies. Radio, we're always on the radio. Again, it's our strategy. We know that you're not always looking for a car. We know that, how many of you even listen to the radio? Half you do, half you don't. So I've already missed half of you, you're not even going to hear it. And then we have to be on the radio stations that you're even listening to. So SEM, acronym for search engine marketing. Heard of that? Familiar with it? You guys know what that is? Like if you're searching, you're doing a Google search, primarily focused on Google. It's hands down the largest platform where people are going to search. So who uses Google? Anyone? Anyone use you Bing anything? Bing it? No? So anyway, so most of our energy is focused on Google, and SEM would be the ads that are going to pop up. Now, a lot of the energy has been shifting towards mobile. We know that the data and the analytics is going to be, everything's mobile. So I think our website, people coming from any source, is about 67% is coming from mobile, and it keeps going up and up and up and up. So the first thing we do when we work on platforms, for you to search to look for anything from us, is we start with our mobile first, and then we worry about the other devices. So that's what search engine marketing is, pay-per-click, or a lot of different advertising. I've heard that way. You guys talk about those?
A little bit.
Okay. So newspaper, that actually has dwindled quite a bit. I'm going to dig a little deeper and kind of give you examples through these. But newspaper, if it doesn't have the proper return on investment for us, it's really expensive, but it still works if you're tracking it, which I'll also talk about that. Direct mail, third-party intermediaries. I think you guys do talk about those. If you don't, it's like the pulling of all the people who sell a product in a common ground. So I'm trying to think of a couple. Amazon, that would be probably an excellent one. They pull everybody's products there, and you go shop there, right? But there's tons of stores on it. Facebook marketing and direct email marketing to our database. So the 4 Ps, you should definitely be aware of these, right? So if you can't see how I'm using these in every single thing we do, that would be something you need to be paying attention to. Again, talking to my team about this, I'm like, this is a good kind of forcing me to go through this and just be prepared to be able to talk to you guys. I'm like, I gotta get my old school marketing thoughts out here again. This isn't like me just rattling stuff off to my team. But price, every single time, I believe for us, we're going to be jamming a pretty aggressive message down your throat to say how nice we are. That's not really what people are looking for from us. We do it sometimes, but not on a radio or TV ad. Product, again, everything that we're going to talk about here is going to be a new car, so that's going to be the same product every single time. And then our promotion of where we do it and where we're pushing to or where we're targeting is going to be on place. So television, every single time it's going to be an aggressive marketing push of what we're going to talk about, pricing, savings, leasing, and so you can see the breakdown of your P's are in there if you start digging, right? So we're going to target cable zones of where we're going to attack, who we're going to go after. So again, you guys are from this local area, well, that's what we're going after, so you will see that. Different stores pick and choose. We let them kind of manipulate their marketing of what they want to use. So if they don't want to use television, then they won't use it. Depends on their budgets, depends how big the store they are, how small the store they are, but television is very expensive. Frequency, reach, I don't know if you guys talk about that, because I didn't really learn about that until after, but we won't move on to another marketing area or media mix until we absolutely dominate it with frequency. So every time you have a reach and frequency, reach would be, all right, I'm going to reach from here to this side of Greensburg, and I'm also going to go to the other side of Monroeville, so I'm going to reach that far. But if I'm only hitting you one time with that message, my frequency, it's really a waste. I'd rather remove an area and come at you with multiple repeated times that you get to hear it. So what we practice is if we can't do that, we're not going to spend it in another area. We're going to keep funneling money in that area to keep our frequency up. So any questions on television? I'm sure you've seen ads, and maybe you go to another area and you're wondering why you never see some of these advertisements. Dean?
How much does it cost for a minute of your time?
So it depends on the platform. So cable and where you're putting on, which stations, and what times you're putting on. It's a huge range. So most of that is, I mean, that is like specifically somebody's job within our company. So I wouldn't even know that answer off the top of my head. But I can tell you, for example, like WDVE, I'm going to switch it to radio for a minute. If you do an ad on them, they're the biggest radio station in Pittsburgh. I'm just going to flip the radio real quick. No, it didn't work.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm going back. We'll stay there. DV is about $100 per 30-second spot. Or $200, I'm sorry. But if you go on the 105.9, it would cost maybe $100 for a 30-second spot. But they reach so many more people. So you're getting, so they base that off of a gross point rating, TRP, or a GRP. And those are just how many people are getting to hear that message. So they're kind of giving you that information on that reach. So that's why the pricing fluctuates all over the place.
So you actually have somebody who uses marketing metrics to test all of that data.
Oh,
To figure out when's the best time to advertise your.
It's an opinion a lot of times, so it's like a strategy of how you're going to do it. So again, we'll look at television for 1 second. I have examples, but I'll play them to you. Just 1 second. So depending on who I'm trying to target and what message I'm targeting to, that would obviously depend. So if I'm going to be on Monday Night Football, it's going to be extremely expensive. But we know that that is primarily a male-dominated audience. I'm sure some of you watch football that are females, but the statistics say that's a male-dominated. Anytime it's male-dominated, males are extremely hard to target. So if you want to have a male-specific message, you're going to pay a ton of money. So we would probably have a male-specific vehicle that we're going to try to promote. That anyone have a stab of a guess of what would be a male-dominated vehicle that we're going to promote on Monday Night Football?
Yeah, trucks.
Trucks, and that's what our Ram trucks and our F-150 trucks, that's all we're going to advertise on there. They get the spotlight. We won't even let any of our other stores advertise on this. It's just too expensive. So I don't know if that exactly answers your question.
Yeah.
So their strategy is they're not going to let us spend the money in the wrong spots. They're going to make sure that we're putting our money that has the best impact. Again, the 4 Ps.
Yeah.
We will make sure we're putting the right products with the right promotion in the right spots. And then a lot of platforms are pretty much 50-50. So depending on the radio station and TV channel, it's a split. So at that point, you're going to pay less money, and you would want to work with your product lines that sell both male and female. So our Jeep lineup's like about a 50-50 split. We have Wrangler, all the way to a Grand Cherokee, but it's pretty even across the line. We're going to sell male, female. So I have a couple TV ads, and there's a couple different ways. Did I answer your question? Good?
Yeah.
Good. Can I answer your question on the pricing? So a couple different TV ads. I'm not sure which one's going to play, but before you hit that play button, we have like group messaging. We'll have like a theme. One doesn't have a person in it. One does. I'm going to explain those to you in a second when we kind of why we do those and what we're doing. But
can sell nearly 1,000 vehicles a month. It's simple. The best inventory, the best service, the best deals. And who doesn't want to have the best? At Jim Jorky Auto Group, it's all about getting your deal your way. And that's what we call a great day. Join the growing number of customers who have learned that Jim Shorkey Auto Group experience is the best experience. An official sponsor of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Shop our locations throughout the greater Pittsburgh area or visit us online at jimshorkey.com.
And now the President's Day discounts are officially underway. There's never been a better time to save big on America's leaders. Escapes and Explorers now for $8,000 off MSRP. Plus, 0% financing, no payments for 90 days, top trade allowances. Shorkey Ford helps keep your presidents in your pocket. Historic discounts to make your deal your way. What a great President's Day. Shop JimShorkeyFord.com.
It's support, and you don't have another cent. You suddenly see the car of your dreams during the Shorkey North Hills Big Finish event. Up to $10,000 off MSRP. Oh, I promise it's true. Plus, we always stock more while others stock few. Big discounts and trade values, any competing offer we will beat. So why waste your time shopping when no others can compete? So hurry in today, and we'll see you here. It's the Big Finish year in the big. Shorkey North Hills best savings of the year.
You notice how they were different, every single one. I don't know if you picked up on what were the differences, but they all have a little bit different feel. So this was designed to be intentionally corny. It seems like if a car dealer, if you don't make it corny and weird, it's like people don't even pay attention to it. So the weirder it is, the cornier, the louder it is, the better. So, but we have Mike, who actually works in the store. He's a partner of ours who works in that location. So we want that face when you come into it to say, oh yeah, you're the guy I saw on the radio or the TV commercial. This one did not have that, but we had specific offers that we were hammering them down their throat. I don't know if you kind of picture that, just like nonstop talking about the deals. That's specifically what we were trying to do. And then this one is like kind of showing our partnership and again kind of working for like credibility. We're official sponsor of the Pittsburgh Penguins, so we would want to exploit that partnership of saying, hey, we're a legit company. We work with the Penguins and aren't going to just pick anybody. So, and then we have all of our brands pretty much designed to show that, again, how big we are as a company and that you should give us a try. So that's kind of the different formats with everything we're doing there. Any questions on maybe some of the strategy or thoughts on it?
What's the process of getting sponsored by the Pittsburgh Penguins?
Pay them a lot of money.
So that's just another advertising.
Yeah, absolutely. So, now they're not going to, I mean, they want a credible partnership with them, so they're not going to really accept anybody that has like a bad reputation because their name's attached to them too.
Right.
So they won't pick anyone, but they will reach out to certain groups, and we weren't partnered with them in any format. There were some other big groups with them, and they offered us a partnership, which gave us like on their Facebook and in Twitter and then InSign. You guys have been to a Penguins game?
Yeah.
So
So you're all over the stadium.
We're in the stadium. The parking garage, we actually have the rights to the parking garage, so we're the like here like a Heinz Field, right? So Heinz owns that. Well, we own the rights to the parking garage. We have our own parking spots in there. There's Jim Shorkey, Family Auto Group parking. If you have like our plate frame on, they'll just let you park there. It's closer. So I guess you can just put a plate frame on and they wouldn't know, but take that off.
Yeah. Delete, right?
So yeah, we have a partnership with them, and again, we want to make that known. We even have it on our logos of our plate frames. So, questions? Good. You're gonna need to.
There you go.
skip me.
Radio. You're good.
Radio. A lot of people tell us we're out of our mind, but when we do studies and we do research, it keeps showing that radio is actually pretty effective for us because we've been on the radio for so long, nonstop, and people just are used to hearing us on the radio. So they know our name constantly from the radio. So that's been our first entry point of we're going to dominate radio, and you're always going to hear us if you're a radio listener. And we're working to get on more ground. But each radio station does have a targeted audience. Again, we're not going to target a minivan on WDV and pay a premium for it when we know that that's not primarily a male-dominated driven vehicle. So we'll target based off the radio station that makes us the most sense. So hopefully it's very similar to the same strategy with television, but aggressive pricing, leasing offers on there. I have some free to listen to. But again, if you're talking on a new car front, we're looking at those 4 Ps every single time. So put on some audio. They were messing with me. They put click here like I wouldn't know.
Hills has combined President's Day and Ram Truck Month into one big money savings event. Truck deals so good you can't afford to miss. Light and heavy duty, diesel, even the official Pittsburgh Penguins truck. Just $2 $249 a month or save up to $13,000 off MSRP. Historic discounts to make your deal your way. What a great President's Day. Shop ShortCanOutHills.com or see us at the auto show. See dealers for complete details on all offers.
Drew, was that a 30-second? Could you tell?
Yeah, it was, 30.
For Grand Slam deals you won't get anywhere else, shop JimShortyFord.com. Stop in and see why Pittsburgh's fastest growing Ford dealership has the crowds going wild. Your deal, your way, what a great day. Shop JimShortyFord.com.
So, don't hit that play button for 1 second. Did you tell the difference between the two voices? The first one was much more enthusiastic. The second one, it's really hard to do this, by the way. So we try not to use talent, but on the television commercial, we'll use a marketing talent. We always try to use the people that are in the store, but we know that customers understand that, okay, that wasn't nearly as good, but we understand that actually we'll get to be able to speak to that person in the store. So we want that credibility. We'll let them use their name sometimes. The name drop at that one, he didn't use his name, I just put the wrong one in, but we want them to do that because they're in the community, they live in the community, and we want people to say, oh, you know what, this actually just happened. The guy was going to go buy some vehicles elsewhere. He found out that person who's doing that voiceover, which again is not good, we're working on getting it better. It's very hard to do, to come into the store, and it happened. His friend came in and bought cars because he heard that it was him on the radio. So that's part of our strategy. Try to make it personal and not commercialized.
Spring is officially here at Jim Shorkey, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in North Huntington. Durangos, Journeys, and Grand Caravans now up to $7,500 off. Your deal, your way, what a great day. Shop the spring sales event at JimShorkeyDodge.com.
So if you didn't like that one, don't talk about it. That was me. So this is 15 seconds, and these are 30-second spots. So our strategy with that is you can even do a 60-second spot. And we have those as well. I'm just not a big fan of the 60-second spot. They take too long and you lose interest. If you do listen to the radio, you probably change stations at that point. So we try not to stay. Is that what you were saying? Off in the meeting. So these strategies here, I might be able to get you to hear our message. So this 15-second, what we'll do is we'll bookend an advertisement. So you listen to the radio. As soon as it cuts off, that's going to be on for 15 seconds. At a minimum, you might be able to hear our name, and it just gives more brand awareness. And then when you're going back to the music, again, 15 seconds before, you'll hear that again. And in that period, you may come back to the station, so we might even have a couple more of our other stores in between those commercial breaks intentionally. So the 15-second bookends are phenomenal. They're a little more expensive, but again, if you look at, you said you just jump off, we already know that. We know you're going to move to the next station, right? You're DVRing your TV. So what are we doing? We're going to have those TV commercials right before that DVR, because they didn't quite rewind fast enough, and you're going to catch our commercial. So those are absolutely much more strategic approach. You're going to pay more money, but we feel like we'll actually be able to get that impression in front of you. That one's a critical error if you're doing radio or television, if you're not bookending your advertisements. So if you go to somewhere and you're working in the marketing of the company and they're not doing that, you need to put your foot down and say, you're losing money, I can prove it to you, and then get them to switch it. Okay, so we can get
Jim Shorty.
Spring.
So search engine marketing, this is hands down, if you're not spending as a company as much money as you possibly can here, you're crazy. So this is so easy for us to measure. We know exactly what kind of return on investment we're getting. This would be the first thing I would attack if I was a new business. I don't care what your business is. You're selling lawn mowers or you're a lawn mowing, you have your own lawn mower business, I would do search engine marketing. That might be an exaggeration on your own lawn service, but that's where I would focus first and foremost. I could see how many clicks, and I'll show you some of the analytics. We know how long these different areas of these keywords we're going after. We'll drop keywords if they're not driving leads and sales for us. So we'll measure that, phone calls, all those different things. So paid search is probably one of the most underutilized. As any business, they just don't spend enough money here. This could be a 7-hour conference for the several days possibly to talk about paid search marketing. So there's some slick strategies you can do. So let's just say your website sells the same competing product as mine, and so does yours. I could set up a paid search campaign and a lot of people behind the scenes, they'll pay another vendor to work there, and they'll have segmented budgets they'll have within the category. but I already know that he's doing this, and so is he, and maybe one of you are as well. So what I would do is I would strategically attack your URL that every time you bid, I'll bid 1 cent more than you no matter what. Now, if I'm local to the area, I might still click on their business because they're in the backyard, but I'm going to get them to burn through their budget, and they won't even show up anymore. So they'll show up for 3 days of the month, and I'll show up for the remaining 27 right in their backyard. So that's a next step. If you have enough budget, you just keep going after your competitor. So it sounds pretty cutthroat, huh? This is what we do. This is how it works. This is how you do it. But just telling you how you win. So it's a little bit different, right? So if radio, you said that you would switch off the station, or we all kind of agreed that a lot of us will even DVR the TV station. But if I'm looking for something, you could not click my ad, but I'm going to serve it up to you based off what you're looking for. So it takes a lot of time, a lot of thought. But if you're looking for a Jeep dealer near me, well, I want to be popping up first and foremost right in front of you. If you're looking for our name specifically for our company, I want to pop up right there first as well. And say, well, I was already looking for you, why would you do that? It's like a defense strategy. I'm trying to remove anyone trying to go after us off the first paid search spot. Does that make sense? Does anyone click a paid search ad? People used to not, and now they are. It's like just almost, you can't even see on your mobile phone, you can't even see the organic ones anymore. So it's pretty much all paid. Google's pretty smart, one of the most valued companies in the world, so you know what you're doing. So definitely would do that. It's a pull marketing strategy versus me pushing it in front of you. So you have to be looking for it to work. Target directly to people that you want to target. Again, when I'm on the radio, if you're not in the market for a car, I'm targeting you, but you're not even looking for my product. Targeted demographic areas, again, I'm not going to pay paid search. I don't want to pay for words you looking for a Jeep dealer and serve them up in Florida. I don't care about people looking for Jeeps in Florida. Matter of fact, I don't care if you're in the middle of the state. I'm going to focus right on our backyard, and that's how we get the best return on our investment. So again, it's like very localized. You got to focus on your backyard. What about price? So if you notice here on this one, the other ones were always aggressively talking about price, 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 price. You don't have to talk about price on this one. You can. You can put an offer out there, but you don't have to. So I'll show you some people that are going after us with price when we didn't use price. So So this one here, too small, can't see it, I apologize, but this is, here's the search word, Ford Escape. Now, it's always based off of whatever's on your computer. So if you were to clear out your cookies, it would change everything completely. So this person must have been probably researching our other competitors, and that triggers them to come up sometimes. But anyway, we just have a general Ford Escape ad popping up saying browse for our best offer online. So we're kind of talking price, we're not talking price. But our competitors are coming directly at us with a lease offer, and they have a zero down lease offer as well. And over on the Kia side, this is specifically our name, and they're bidding our name, going after us with an offer. I don't typically bid or serve up an offer to people looking for our name, because I don't know if you're looking for our service department, parts department, I don't know what you're looking for. So I'm not going to serve up an ad to you in that sense. It's kind of annoying when you're really looking for that. So try to give a good experience, and then the more clicks you get on your advertisement, so if they're serving up these ads and they're never getting clicked, they actually start charging them more money to just be able to serve it up when they do click it. Or ours will work to drive down the price by keeping up the frequency of the click. That helps you out. Newspaper. Some people, I'm like super pro digital marketing, and to the point where I was like, I don't think we're going to do any traditional advertising anymore. I like freaked out our ad agents. But we still do newspaper ads, which is kind of crazy. And people will always say, it's so outdated. I don't even read a newspaper. I don't know the last time I've ever even seen a newspaper. However, it still does work. And it's all about return on investment anytime you're using any marketing platform. So if the newspaper costs $1 billion per ad, yeah, I wouldn't advertise it there. But if it costs $1 per ad, and I would actually take over the whole newspaper. I'd have the whole thing filled up with our advertisements. But there's somewhere in between that. They don't cost that little or that much. So it's really about return on investment. We can measure it through phone calls and things like that. And you're obviously going to target it through the circulation area wherever they're serving up that paper. So you don't even have to be in the major newspaper. You could be in one of the small local newspapers. Questions on newspaper? Anyone want to fight with me, disagree with me on that? Okay, so these are the type of ads we'll serve in there. Again, the more obnoxious, the better. As a car dealer, I have no clue why, but that's just what works. We try to make them not be obnoxious, but it just doesn't drive traffic. So here we'll have our new car. Again, we're trying to talk about our, you always notice there's like some type of promotion going on. The springtime event, March Madness, or Markdown Madness. We have our savings message, a price message, and then sometimes, yeah, we'll even put a payment message in there, and then we'll list a bunch of used cars. This actually has some service offers in there, and this has a combination of all three. Newspaper. So again, we'll put a tracking number in there, which I can't find at the moment. These are all tracking numbers. Direct mail, just showing you a piece. We actually have our own marketing company. Again, that would be a whole nother. So we have a marketing company. It's a separate company outside of our car dealership. So we can do all this stuff, and we do all this stuff in-house ourselves. So wholesale pricing, we get to take advantage of all that, where a lot of our competitors, they have to pay somebody else full retail price to be able to market to their customers. So we have our own marketing company, and we probably created that ourselves. So if we were targeting people, let's trade keys event. Okay, so this is a direct mail piece, and why would we want to do direct mail versus an email? Well, a lot of people don't open their email. It's kind of like the flip-flop of the past. If you get a letter in the mail with your name on it, now you actually do open it. So if we target them, we try to always focus on, we're not going to just hit them with a crazy amount of mail unless they're in market. So they'd have to be possibly, maybe lower their payment, or we can get them in a situation where we know their trade pattern. It's kind of crazy, we know all this stuff. So if we know that you trade your car for 3 years, we're going to start aggressively marketing to you in 3 years. So if you're 2-year lease, we're going to start aggressively marketing to you a couple months before your lease is up. So it's kind of weird, we know all this, but we do. So targeted audience, new vehicle, target on this specific one, and aggressive pricing again. Same thing, 4Ps. Direct mail examples, I just stuffed a couple more in there. Sometimes we even go after service and just kind of be in a certain area. This one is actually a saturation mailer, which is completely different than what I just told you. So that would be like, you could work directly with the postal service, and instead of paying, maybe we'll just say $1 for a mail piece, you can get it through them for like 20 cents, and they'll just send it to every single person on the carrier's route. But there's never like a specific person it's addressed to. They just deliver it to everyone on their route, and you could target a huge area, not specifically targeted to what your message is. Like the other one, we were saying trade you out of your car. This is just a carpet bomb, and just hammering everybody with the message we want. So similar to like a radio and TV. Email marketing. This one I'm like psychotic about. I don't let anybody send emails out to our customers through our database. I'm like, won't let people email our database because I know how easy it is to unsubscribe. That's one of the least expensive, most cost-effective ways for us to get to our database of people. But we try to focus more on our service marketing, but again, I told you all these examples are going to be basically focused on new car. So occasionally we'll market them with new cars, but you got to be careful with that. So anyway, this is a service focus primarily for us using your email. And again, there's the templates of, we could see if this is more effective than this. We can check your open rates and click rates and which ones actually convert to go to our website. So you need to track everything if you're not picking up on that. It's like tracking, and seeing which one works better. Facebook, again, just an unlimited amount of supply. This is like all effort. This is like your heart and how much you want to put into it. This isn't really about how much you can spend. So this is a great way also as a small business to get your name out there. So this is public relations. I know there's other platforms, but we just primarily use Facebook. So this is more PR. This is not talking about deals. It's just talking about what you do for the community and